Man, I've ate a lot of shrimp in my lifetime. One of my favorite memories from the Philippines is going out on a shrimp farm. Now, you know, my dad's province, a lot of the rice fields eventually became brackish, so they just turned them into fish farms, shrimp farms. So I remember going out to one of these rice fields that had prawns in them. And it's about like knee deep water, and you kind of just get on your knees and just kind of, you know, just feel around for them in the mud. And when you find one, you just grab it and then put it in this little floating net. And next thing you know, they're grilling up the catch and serving it up with some, you know, hot fresh rice. So I've loved shrimp before, but after that experience, man, I love shrimp. Who don't love shrimp?
Lisa, you want to go ahead and hook this light up?
The solar light will come on after dark.
It's only maybe. I don't have them here with me. They're in the boat.
You're gonna do some shrimping. You got the wrenches?
No, I just need that. I just need that one wrench.
You videoing us right now?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, tie that up there. Forgot.
Hey, get the chairs out.
Put a winch.
Right in my hand. That's what she said. You probably gonna want that next.
Yep.
That's fancy. So if you're ever out on the marsh in southeast Louisiana, you always see these nets. Nets on these little floating docks. They're used for shrimping. Now, I've never been on one before, and Mr. Ed and Miss Lisa just got one. So I get to hop on the boat and check out the whole operation. You know, all the gear, all the rigging, just kind of geek out over the whole operation.
So what's this called? A Po Pierre?
A Po Pierre.
What's the story of a Po Pierre?
Story that I was always told was they call them Paupieres because Pierre was so po that he couldn't afford a boat. So he built a stationary land net, and they call it all Po Pierre.
What is the really name for it?
A Po Pierre.
The Po Pierre.
Lisa used to call it a pope in the air. And I said, the pope's not in the air. You know what I mean.
Pope in the air.
Pope in the air.
Make sure you do a lot of making fun of me. You're pretty good at that.
Edit that part, Rex. Lisa, we're playing and he's filming. Okay, so get the sourpuss look off your face.
No, I'm just saying.
He's gonna make you famous. All this silly shit you're gonna say is going on YouTube.
You need to
Be posted in your bait shop.
It is. Yeah.
Well, then everybody will see your smart ass comments.
I just said you used to call it Pope in the air. That's not a smart ass comment. That's real life shit.
That's pretty funny though.
It is.
I don't know if that's true. I think it's one of those stories that gets told so much that, you know, people just stick to it. I mean, I've been telling people that same story ever since Mr. Eddie told me, you know, that these things are called Po Pierres. I did look it up on Google though, and it's spelled as one word, and it's spelled Paupiere. I think if you're from the South or your country, you'd say Po Pierre. Po Pierre. You know, if you're trying to say it like correctly, like with the little French influence, it'd be like Paupiere. Paupiere. That R somehow turns into a Y, like Paupiere. Pierre. 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 I mean, honestly, people just say the nets. Like, you gotta go down there towards the nets. Over there by the nets, there's that one net down the canal. So you go past those nets. So people just say nets. So anyways, Mr. Eddie and Miss Lisa just got this Po Pierre. So Mr. Eddie and Miss Lisa got this Po Pierre built. I'm just gonna say Po Pierre. Like I'm just gonna say, you guys, you know, I'm not from there, so I'm just gonna say it out. Po Pierre. So they got this whole setup built so they could start catching and selling live shrimp. So now with this setup, they can kind of control their whole operation. So they'll get enough bait shrimp, and then they'll harvest the live shrimp. So I've never been on a shrimp boat or shrimping operation, like I said. So what I'm seeing here is their whole setup for collecting live shrimp, which is going to be different than just collecting shrimp to eat, you know, dead shrimp. So when we first dump the net, the first thing we do is collect all the live crabs. You want to collect the crabs because they're running around everywhere. So you collect those. The bigger ones, you know, get ate and used for bait, and then start picking out the live ones. The live shrimp are jumping around, their little legs moving around.
Maybe we didn't bring the tongs.
Okay, we just have to grab them, honey.
I'm scared I might be missing some because I only can tell if they jumping.
So we pick those out and get them back in the water.
Shrimpies can look at pro shrimp.
Eat them. And then the rest of the shrimp, that's bait shrimp. You need the tongs for it.
Grab the crab.
This here is a...
So shrimp dies that fast.
Oh yeah.
See, you need to bring Matt. Matt said this is a robin.
So when you dump
A robin fish?
you can just
Yeah.
start raking them in.
Me, I ain't crazy about holding it. He says, I always call them moisture fish. He said this a robin. He was holding them.
Hold on.
They got wings and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a goby.
That's a goby.
There's
Yeah,
a big one.
Trout love them.
Oh wait, here.
Yeah.
I had the big bat.
So they just get pushed into this little slide, and then they go down to the champagne baskets. I think they call them champagne baskets because, like, you know, they're filled up with crabs or shrimp or oysters. That's a celebration. It's time to bust out the champagne. Champagne baskets. So now Mr. Eddie's got this whole haul of bait shrimp, and there's a lot of jelly in it. So he kind of just takes them over to the side and shakes it and tries to rinse off all that jelly from it.
Well, you don't know how to run until you check it once or twice.
So now what we doing?
Dumps it back on the table, and now we're just sorting out all the bycatch that comes along with all the shrimp. So now we're really sorting and picking through it, and obviously picking out the bigger shrimp for eating.
You don't have a 5-gallon bucket.
It looks speckled trout?
White trout.
White trout?
Yeah. That's a croaker
There you
right
go. No size limit.
Memorial Weekend. Watch your book, man.
Watch it on screen now.
There you go. So you do this kind of now.
Ooh, crabs.
Ooh,
Crabs
crab
are falling in your
just
thing.
there. Oh shit.
You got a couple crabs just went in there.
You go ahead. Let you do it. The honors again.
And he says, man, he
What
told
size
me
of the shrimp or crabs? Too little.
Can it move these crabs?
it's getting better as night goes on. Look at these crabs. Oh, I don't like this. Why? All these big old crabs.
All these baby crabs?
Yeah, they hurt just as well. They
Yeah,
hurt,
they do.
they hurt bad. That is so cool. They're crawling, they're going in the basket.
See how bulky she is?
Yeah.
Overruled.
Hey, man, they're crawling around. They lie. They lie. Oh, here's one.
Yeah.
They usually don't do whole basket. Gotta put ice on the bottom.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good for another round.
Yeah.
Get the eyes glowing.
Crab.
Look at the crabs.
So Mr. Eddie's been rigging up the whole live shrimp operation. So you got to have a live shrimp tank that's plumbed and aerated, and then you've got to have like this live well system to collect the shrimp, you know, while you're at the Po Pierre, and then transport it back to PAC Kayak, and then dump them into the big shrimp tank. So the final piece of their build is really the shrimp live well. So every night we're going out, there's something new that Mr. Eddie's, you know, trying out. So this first night, we're just using the same standard minnow live well, which is just a bilge pump that's kind of recirculating the water in there. So the issue with that is that minnows and shrimp are really different, where, you know, shrimp may not be able to handle all that turbulence and circulating water. So basically that minnow live well is going to really stress out the shrimp. So we're not trying to stay out here too late. You know, I think it's around 10 or 11 we head back in. But when you think about it, you know, Mr. Eddie and Miss Lisa, they're up around 4 or 5 in the morning running PAC Kayak, and then around 6 o'clock, you know, we'll load up the boats and go out to the nets. So I don't know how they do it. So this isn't like something they do every single day. They just do it to restock and re-up on their bait shrimp and their live shrimp. So how many you put in these?
50 each.
Ready to roll?
Yeah.
50 pack.
50 pack. $15 a piece.
Do you feed them anything? Do you just think eat?
No, I don't feed them anything. I think they eat the algae off the side of the tank. Now, I did see a shrimp swimming around earlier today with a dead shrimp in his mouth.
Yeah, I guess they eat it.
So.
So day 2, we decided to take the pontoon boat out instead of the Carolina skiff. I'm going to be honest with you, that first day, we had the Carolina skiff really loaded down. 3 people, all the gear. It was super sketchy at night. Now, I'm sure Mr. Eddie had everything under control, but I was on that Carolina skiff at night, and I felt like if some random rogue wave came at us from the side, we'd be filled up with water and bogged down. But today, check out Miss PAC. Now, Miss PAC is a pontoon boat that we normally use to do marsh tours. But today we got it loaded up with all the gear, and we're taking it out shrimping. Yeah, so the first thing we do once we get on the Po Pierre is drop the net. Now, they've got this little remote controlled winch which lowers and raises the arm that holds the net. So the way these land nets work is, first of all, you got to get a lease, and you want to be able to park it somewhere in a marsh where you can catch a good outgoing current. So these shrimp get caught up in the outgoing current, and then they get swept up into the net, and then they collect into the back of the net. So what's really cool about this is, like, once you drop that net, you know, you're shrimping. And we usually start around, you know, around sunset time. So get out there, drop the net, and just kind of enjoy the sunset. And marsh sunsets, man, they're the best. You know, you got all these reds and oranges over that marsh grass, and the water, the best.
Oh, there he is.
It's a dolphin!
Captain Obvious.
And when it's time to pull it up, you got this other winch, this rope winch, and it's attached by rope to the tail end of the net where all the shrimp are collecting. And basically you wind it a couple times on this rope winch and then start pulling down, and it's doing all the work for you. So you drag that tail over, or that bag, over the picking table.
We gotta figure out something for this. You need any zip ties?
Yeah.
We're gonna need them.
Untie it, the load comes down, and then you start picking.
All right, get the last one.
Wait, I need a zip tie for that.
Let it hold. It'll sit right there.
Oh, get these crabs out of here.
While you're picking, you know, that tail is retied up and dropped back down, and it's ready to collect in the next batch.
The shrimp is flying out. There's one under the table that's good.
I know, but it's still dark and it's not.
I know, Eddie.
can't see what it
That's
is.
what it did last night. It'll come on.
That's a big boy.
It's a skinny crab. Yep. No,
Is it empty?
No, he's heavy. He's heavy. What is that? There's a bunch of babies. I don't know if you ever see.
With cannibal. Savage.
That's how it was.
Yeah. Miss Lisa found it earlier.
What?
See this one eating the other one?
So on this second day of shrimping, Mr. Eddie's got a new modification to his shrimp live well. So still using the bilge pump to recirculate the water, but today he's rigged up a mesh basket, and that gives the shrimp a place to kind of hold on to so they're not kind of getting swirled around in the live well. And that comes in super handy because when we get back to the dock, he can just kind of lift up the whole basket and then bring it over to the live well and dump them in there without having to drain all the water. So it's these little improvements that I like to geek out about, and that's something me and Mr. Eddie really connect over, is these little hacks and little projects where you're rigging stuff up and improving it.
Happy shrimp. Look at that. Happy.
Well, so that's shrimping from a Po Pierre. Did I say it right? Po Pierre. You know what? We went out a couple more times, and I was already kind of done. I got all the filming I could get of the shrimp in action. So we were just out there to really hang out. I brought out the hammock. Matt Carr tried it out, made sure it held up.
Oh, the mask my butt. You know what I think it is?
So it's slipping. Put your cigar in your mouth and take a nap. There. You better go to video real quick if that bitch breaks.
Oh, it's a video. It's a video.
Oh.
Is it sliding?
Yeah, it's sliding.
Slide it down.
Houston, we have a problem.
Oh, we got a porpoise maybe over there.
So we got another strap underneath this strap.
Yeah, max load on this puppy.
It's a double, bro.
Oh, it better be.
Yeah, the double strapped. Double strap work.
Yep.
All the parts came in to finalize Mr. Eddie's live well setup. So I'm gonna let him explain it. Let's see your contraption.
All right.
What do you call this thing?
That is a bubbling tank.
Bubble tank?
A bubble tank for live shrimp. It's got a removable basket. Shrimp hang on to the side of it so they're not all stressed out. It's got air stones in the bottom. It's all plumbed to a air manifold. Goes through a 10-foot air hose down to a 12-volt air pump.
Let's see that pump.
There be the pump.
Ooh, that's a pump.
That's a pump.
Look at that pump. Let's fire it up.
And we're gonna have some happy shrimp.
Bubbles.
Fire yourself right there.
Yep.
They say shrimping is hard.
Shrimping is hard. Yeah. Shrimping ain't easy.
That's right. What you need?
Matt, I need some help. I don't want to crush the basket. They all look pretty happy.
I'll just hang out.
Yeah, so all this footage was shot back in June when me and Buddy were over at PAC Kayak. But since then, you know, Hurricane Ida has pretty much decimated, you know, southeast Louisiana, Pointe-au-Chien area included. So a lot of folks have been asking, you know, how's PAC Kayak doing? Yeah, so the good news is the shop and the restroom were moved out before the storm. You know, when they rebuilt from Hurricane Barry, that was the main thing they wanted to do, was to make sure like the operations was movable. But, you know, Hurricane Ida was just so strong that, you know, the kayak launch is damaged beyond repair, so that's got to get rebuilt. And then the whole porch system they had around the shop, that's gone, including the big live shrimp tank. You know, that got blown into the marsh with the porch, and they see it and they just got to pull it up and see if it still works. Seems like every time I call Mr. Eddie, I'm like, how's this doing? How's that doing? So I asked about the Po Pierre, and he said that's fine. They moved that, you know, behind the locks and levee. But the latest update I got from them is, you know, they got power back up and running. They got ice there. They're trying to get minnows. Minnows should be available starting next week. And, you know, little by little, and they got the dock rebuilt and ready to be decked. And the next project is the kayak launch. So hopefully PAC Kayak is back up and running, you know, within the next month or so. You know, a lot of people have asked, like, how can I help PAC Kayak? And if you go to their website, they've got a kind of an update of all the damage that happened to the shop, and there's a way to donate directly. I'm also selling PAC Kayak apparel on my website, and 100% of proceeds will go to them until they're back up and running. You got anything to say? Well, I think that about wraps it up, guys. I appreciate the support, and thanks for watching. Let's go.
I see you climbing, been trying to find your way. Let's see you smiling. Since we were stuck in LA, babe, come jump the rooftop and come watch the skyline with me.